Brave warriors! I have won great renown through leading men to victory. I see no reason to change the habits of a lifetime today. So be not backwards.
Hello everybody, hopefully you can hear me alright. Let me go ahead and we're just going to turn that down a little bit. Welcome everybody to the stream. My name is Jordan, also known as J Monster. It's been quite some time since we've streamed a battle replay, probably almost a year I think. But it is really good to be back, so you can expect to see more of me on the channel here and on my personal channel as well. Today we're going to be looking at a sort of a new era, I think, of Silmarillion, as we have transitioned from the old build onto the engine overhaul project, which adds a lot of new features, but also comes with its own challenges. I don't know if you're going to see it today, but we do have now proper berserking units, infantry units that will basically lose their mind with enough damage being dealt to them, and they get significantly stronger. Think Rome 1. Very, very similar kind of idea. But we've also got some new factions as well. One of those is going to be the tribe of Boar. We finally took the plunge and split the Easterlings into two separate factions. So you'll be able to play both of them on campaign, either as the tribe of Boar or as the tribe of Ulfang, and you'll be able to play them in multiplayer as well. Let me just quickly check my audio levels here, make sure that everyone's doing okay with that. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay, and I'll move on from there. According to my OBS, my audio levels are pretty good, so it should be okay. But yeah, so let's take a look at the tribe of Boar here. I've actually been on vacation for the last week when a lot of these new changes happened, so we're going to be experiencing this together. And I don't actually know what every single thing does, although I did have a hand in some of the conceptual stuff behind some of the units. So you're going to see some new assets here that we got from a good friend of ours named Argus, and you're going to see a bunch of new units as well. So we've got the Warband of Lothland, which are pretty well the same as they have always been, but obviously they've gotten a new look, and we're going to talk about that as we move through the faction. Both of the Easterlings have been made a little bit more Germanic. We've kind of moved away from the Eastern, like leaning heavily into that Eastern look. So now they're going to be a little bit more like the barbarians from across the Rhine kind of thing. So with the Warband of Lothland here, still the same old basic spear unit that it always was, and the tribe of Boar is largely going to play the same way, have the same weaknesses and strengths that they did previously. So you can see some of our new spears in there as well, which is exciting. And then behind them, you've got some Hunters of Lothland. These are going to be, if I'm not mistaken, harassment javelins, so you're going to have a lot of range on them and a much greater clutch of ammunition, but obviously they won't do this sort of upfront damage that you can expect from the Hunter javelins, which the House of Boar, I believe, still lacks. So we've got a couple of them there. Looks like about 3 of them or so to support the Spearman lineup. I'm not sure what their secondary is, but I believe it is an axe, but I could be mistaken. And behind them, you have the Wardens of Lothland with their second tier of armor upgrade. They're the only unit that can actually upgrade to second tier silver armor, which is nice. So we've got a line of them here, backing up the lighter troops. And then behind them, of course, you've got the halberds. You'll see some of our new halberd assets right there, made for us by Argus, which is very kind of him. And I believe the halberdiers here just have a single level of armor upgrade indicated by those little shoulder pads that they have there. So you'll be able to distinguish them visually on the battlefield. Let me just quickly check the chat here, guys. Yep, can you hear me just fine? Perfect, let's continue on. And it looks like we've got our three units of them as well. And now you can see one of the new units without their armor upgrades. That's going to be the Axemen of Lothland. I believe the way that this unit works, I did discuss this a little bit with Stuart while I was away. They have a higher, I believe, base damage, but a lower charge value, just to sort of keep them in line with the nature of most of the Tribe of Boar units, who generally have a little bit more of an defensive bent to them, with the halberds, things like that you're going to want to make come towards you. The spearmen here, who are of course very, very sticky and hard to get rid of, but you kind of see a little bit the nature of the Boar roster. So these guys are going to be a little bit nicer in like close combat, but they won't have the same charge value, which of course is going to be more of an Ulfang thing, which I'm sure you'll see in some subsequent replays as well. So they mesh nicely with the halberds. You can stick them in with the halberds, and it's just one big deadly meat grinder, which is always really exciting. So we've got, I believe, 3 units of them there, and we've got a couple units here of the Clan Guard of Lothland, who are scimitar armed, so very high on the melee defense, more so than the Axemen, but they do lack that damage. I believe their charge value is even lower than the Axemen as well. But they're going to have an armor upgrade, looking very, very fancy here. You can sort of see the difference between the two. These guys are a little bit more lightly armored. And I think they've got their legendary company here as well. They're probably hanging out a little bit over there, so we'll go and we'll say hi to them in a moment. First, we have the Amberone Honor Guard, who obviously have gotten a brand new look to them, courtesy of Castellan. And yeah, they just look fabulous. They're the same old Honor Guard. They still hit like trucks. They have very good defensive bonuses, and they can be quite hard to knock down, and they just sort of generally fit into the Boar roster quite nicely, which is massing there in several lines. Now, of course, we've got the Salamandrine Guard. They've made the transition over into the Boar faction, so Ulfang won't have them, but they will have some other nice tools that you'll see later. And these guys have got a little bit of a facelift as well. I believe they are equipped with an armor upgrade. You can tell by the shield and the heavier mail that they're wearing. And then we have the legendary company for them. I think this one was basically just made up wholesale, but they are Hunter Javelins. This is, I thought that they lacked them, but now that I think about it, they actually don't. These are Hunter Javelins that are actually mounted, so that's fairly unique. I think across any roster, nobody has access to Hunter Javelins that can move as quickly as them. And then when all is said and done, they are a Lancer. I'm pretty sure that they are just a pure Lancer, not like a spear cavalry Lancer kind of hybrid. So they're going to have some pretty ugly bonuses versus wargs, but they're also not going to do very well against fellow cavalrymen. So it doesn't really change the dynamic a whole lot. They're sort of an alternative loadout, I suppose, to the Salamandrine Guard. They've got a lot more close range punch, whereas these guys obviously have their bows and those nasty little fire arrows that can do some pretty ugly morale damage. These guys are going to be a little bit better suited to being a bit more up close. I think that is reflected in how heavily armored they are. But I don't actually know the minutia of their stats because, like I said, a lot of this is just as new to me as it is to you. So we're going to move on over here. Ignore the Scottish flags. Again, I probably should have prefaced the whole thing with this, but please be aware that anything that you see is subject to change at any time, and there are a lot of temporary things in here. So like the little Scottish banners, obviously when it comes time for the patch to be released, you guys aren't going to have these. We'll either do away with the banners entirely, or we'll just replace them with things that we've made for each faction. So don't worry too much about that. Just try to ignore it, and hopefully it doesn't pull you out of it a little bit too much. Anyway, so we have the Avari here, teaming up with the tribe of Boar, and they're going to be played by Panthan of Barsoom. He's got some Thorn and Ancients here. In the last patch, these guys actually got a little bit easier to field in larger numbers, so you'll be able to see 2 of them as sort of a mailed fist to the face of the foes of the Avari a little bit more often. Heavily armored, a lot like trolls. I think that they're now lock morale, so I could be wrong though. It could be possible for them to run, but extremely hard to break down. They've got very high armor values and a whole lot of HP to boot, and they do okay-ish damage. It's really just average. You can upgrade them with an armor or with an attack upgrade to give them a little bit extra. Out here we've got some Stone Hewers of the Darkling Woods, probably one of the more heavily armored units that the Avari can bring to bear, aside from some of their bodyguards. They've got okay shield values. They've got about 4 or 5 armor, which puts them within that sort of light infantry spectrum, but at the upper end of them. And of course, they're fairly cheap, and they've got lots of damage as well, especially when upgraded. Over here we got some Shades of the Guarded Path. These are going to be one of the bodyguard units for the Avari. And I think we're looking at 2 units of them there today. And do we have a general in there, or are they just sort of hanging out as extra line infantry? I think that that's the case. Probably going to see the general hanging out over here in the First Refusers. They've got a little bit of an overhaul, actually. Not much of one. They do benefit now from bark skin, which is something that previously only the Thorned Ancients and things like that were able to enjoy, and that's just like a passive shield value, so it's helpful for melee and projectiles and things like that from the front. They've got some nasty debuffs that they can apply to morale with their slings. It's like a poison ball that explodes and damages the morale of units all around them, very similar to the Ash Priests, who I'm sure you'll see later. I don't know if they're on the field today. And then we've got some more Thorned Ancients here as well. Out on the wings, you see some Thorncasters. They're probably the supremacy javelin unit in the game, I would say. They've got good armor, they've got bark skin, they've got extra ammunition, they've got a little bit extra damage. They're probably the best harassment javelin unit available anywhere. Over here we've got some Rangers of the Hidden Path. These are going to be Hunter Javelins. They're very quick. They've got extra damage and extra ammo. It's one of the nice things about being the Avaris. You've got a lot of close range punch in the form of these two units here that we've just looked at. And we're going to be seeing two of them on the field today, and they're going to be very nasty. They're also able to hide anywhere, and they've got extremely high melee defense. They're dagger armed, so they are armor piercing, but they don't have a ton of base damage, so they're not really going to do a lot of damage very quickly, but they can stay in the fight for a very long time, provided that they are not shot. Out front here, we've got Host of the Withered Ash, which is the legendary company, and they're going to be mixed in here with some Bow Wards of the Darkling Woods to help form a very solid front line. The Host of the Withered Ash are actually lock morale, so they're going to have to be killed to a man, and they are very intimidating. Look at that scowl. These are probably some of my favorite elves in the entire mod, to be perfectly honest. Have I missed anything? Got some more Rangers out over here, some more Thorncasters, and that's going to do it for the Avari. So we're going to wait here. Put it on about 1.5 speed. We'll go and see what the enemies have brought to bear. And let's see here. Take a look at chat and see what's going on. Not too much going on in there. Hiya, Winged. Nice to see you. Welcome to the stream. Go ahead and fast forward a little bit here. It's not a very long replay, and I don't really want to miss anything. It's extremely close, though. I have seen the results, and it's probably as close of a game as I think I've ever seen. So I'm really excited to show that to you guys. So let's go ahead and put that on point 1. And across the fields, we're going to have the House of Fingolfin. You're going to see a lot of their new models and things like that. Some Blade Masters here of Barrett Eiffel, and they're going to be played by a Lion of Iron. Got a couple of them here. 2 Blade Masters, looking all funky and fresh in their new digs. Out front, we got some Bladesmen of Baird Eiffel as well. Looks like they've got the little High Elven shield there, which I think is kind of a cool addition. In behind them, we've got the Armitar, who are basically a half-strength version of the Bladesmen, but they also inspire. They've got a cool model, and they're a good deal more heavily armed, and their melee stats match. Over here, we have some Dragon Guard of Dorloman, very sexy. Strong, sort of a mix between, I suppose, a harassment javelin unit and a throwing axe unit. They've got axes that they can throw at a greater range, but obviously they hit a little bit less hard. They've got about 7 or so damage, I think, to like the 9, 10, 11, 12, etc. of dedicated units of throwing axemen. However, get a little bit sidetracked there looking at the cool models. Sorry about that. However, they are actually able guardsmen in close quarters as well. These are sort of hand-picked men by Huron himself, members of the Edine, and yeah, very fearsome indeed. In the back here, we're going to take a look at some of the Marksmen of Baird Eiffel. Obviously, they have the new model here. I think they have some armor upgrades, so they're going to be very difficult to kill. The Baird Eiffel units are generally, they have a lower base armor value, but you can upgrade them to be quite fearsome. Very much the peer of other Noldor factions in the game, or a near peer at least. In behind them, Sons of Hurin, and that's where the High King is going to be hanging out today. You can see good old Fingolfin himself chilling in the back there. Some beautiful units. I think in this version, these guys have Berserker, and I think it turns them into legendary killing machines. So it's going to be interesting to see how they perform. I'm not 100% sure that they still have it. Like I said, I have been on vacation for the last little while. I got some more Blade Masters over here. I think, yeah, it's 4 units in total. Got the Legendary Company, the Arqueni Findicano, looking funky fresh. with the beautiful model given to them by Castellan. These are armor-piercing archers, sort of the same archers who hunted Glaurung in the fields of Ardgalen when he, against the orders of Morgoth, sallied forward and made a nuisance of himself. These guys were sure to send him packing. In-game, like I said, they have armor-piercing arrows, limited ammunition, however, and they are not what one would call amazing versus cavalry, but they do have some good bonuses versus elephants, and possibly even wargs as well, but I could be mistaken on that. It's looking like everybody for Fingolfin there. Quite a large army, a lot of numbers there, as you kind of expect from Fingolfin. And then we're going to see one of the smaller armies, and that's going to be commanded by Lord of Belegost, who's playing as the House of Feanor. We've got several units here of Riders of the Pass, at least 2. Again, ignore this. It will go away eventually. A few units here of Mounted Company of Grufin. Looks like we're looking at 2. Very, very useful all-around generalist cavalry unit. They've got some really nasty harassment javelins that are great for softening up other targets and picking on other cavalry. And then, when they're in combat, they are quite formidable as well. They have very high armor and shield values. Really, really nice all-around unit that kind of forms the core of any Sons of Feanor cavalry force. Over here we have some of the Recruiting Magloro armed with their maces. They'll be getting some new maces soon, and I think that they're getting some new models as well. Sort of transitioning away from the older Third Age stuff now that we've got access to more varied and more interesting visual things. But they are nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Probably with an armor upgrade to give them like 15 or whatever armor. And they've got those armor-piercing maces and bonuses versus all kinds of cavalry. Just terrifying to behold. Not something you want to mess around with. Over here, we have the Accursed of Alcolonde, the legendary company for the House of Feanor. They are relentless, heavily armored, but they are a little bit lower on the melee defense side of things. So cavalry charges and even lower grades armor-piercing infantry can be quite effective against them. However, in the right position on your line, you can expect these guys to reap a terrible and bloody toll indeed. Over here, we have some Rangers of Hellevorn. Looks like we've got 3 of them. They have actually gone up by 1 cap in the next patch to help the Sons of Feanor deal a little bit more handily with massed units of pikes and polearms and things like that. That'll help soften the formations up and not let them have it all their own way. And of course, they're capable enough medium infantry after the fact. Got some fully upgraded footmen of Amras here. 1, 2, 3, 4 units of them. Also got some Huntsmen of Thargelion hanging out up front. They make an excellent screen. And we will have some new keywords as well. They'll indicate that units are useful for screening a force. And those screening units are generally going to be a little bit faster as well. And better able to get into position. And that's especially nice for the Huntsmen of Thargelion with those 2-handed spears. Looks like we've got no less than 2 catapults here opening up out in the front. And that, I think, is going to be it. Let's go ahead and get started here. That's a very bad time to be one of the Sons of Boar. Oh my goodness. Terrible, terrible toll. However, Salamandrine are not bad against catapults. As you can see here, they can do a decent amount of damage to him. And this overextension here by Lord of Belegost is definitely going to cost them. It could be something that he's able to maybe sucker some of the cavalry in to an ambush where the cavalry can deal with them, but it doesn't look like that's the case. And you can already see these catapults here beginning to fall. That's a big deal. 2 of them are down. There is another one out front. Yeah, there goes the other. I don't think this one's going to have the opportunity to shoot. Oh, they're already drawing a bead on the other one. Oh, there we go. Ooh, some nasty, nasty catapult hits here. I don't think they got their value back, though. I mean, you will have some Footmen of Amras at the end of the day, but it does cost a lot of money. And these guys here, unfortunately, were a little bit too far forward, not protected, and nothing is really being brought forward to screen them. This would be a great time to have those Mounted Company come a little bit farther forward here, push the Salamandrides out of position a little bit, maybe use some of the other archers as well in tandem with them to inflict some unsustainable casualties. They are a small unit. It does add up really quickly, but alas, that's going to be it for all those catapults there, with the exception of this one. It's got 30%. It's going to try to escape. At this point, it's a little bit too late for that. And I think this catapult here is just going to get taken out. Yeah, one more shot ought to do it, and down it goes. The Salamandrians have more than paid for themselves by crippling these 2 catapult units. That's a real big deal right there. But it looks like about 2% of their allies were killed in turn. These guys are quite heavily armored, so I'd be surprised if many of them actually fell. I think most of this happened when they turned around. Yeah, you can see they're facing the opposite direction. And in exchange, there's about 4 dead Salamandrians. Still, very nice. Some brutal shots here. That opening volley was just completely disgusting. And if that was allowed to go on, I'm sure that those units would have paid for themselves. They were in a good position, but unfortunately with the Salamandrians on the field, and of course they would be, it was very risky indeed to have them all the way out here. It looks like Silver Wind making moves, looking to get a piece. I would go for the Recruiting Magloro as well. Oh yeah, there they are. Oh, somebody got taken out. Murked on the first go. That's very unfortunate. One of the first Sons of Feanor units to die is actually going to be one of the Requeni models. And they're kind of boxed in here. It's a little bit surprising. This is a really ugly position for the Sons of Feanor to be in. There's a lot of numbers and a lot of armor piercing there, and they're not going to have a very good time with it, I don't think. Not if they can't regain control and regain the initiative. But let's see how things are going for the Avari. It looks like big moves are being made over here, and these groups have already smashed into each other. Got here just in time. Host of the Withered Ash and the Bow Wardens fighting a literal uphill battle here. Not having a good time. These swordsmen are going to blend them up real nice. There is some support nearby, and their position on the hill is something of a double-edged sword. Let's go ahead and slow down a little bit here. I feel like lots of stuff is happening. Yeah, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. It does make them more vulnerable to shots from the Rangers, shots from the Thorncasters. You can already see those coming in. Yeah, they're making it rain, and not in a good way. And these Bladesmen and the Armitar behind them are a little bit hard put to it. That being said, they have mulched those Stonehewers. They are getting absolutely brutalized. But as they break through, yeah, you're going to see a lot more of this. Very ugly indeed. Armitar here just chewing up that front line along with the Bladesmen. And that's what you would expect. The Sons of Fingolfin are very, very good in this kind of fight. Blade Masters here smashing their way through. I wouldn't expect this to hold for too long. Perhaps a little bit too bunched up, though. Not doing the optimal amount of damage that they could be doing. Oh, nasty. Brutal shots here. Raining fire from the sky onto these Stonehewers. I think there's probably some better targets here. There's definitely a few Rangers out in the open. First Diffusers and things like that. That's probably where I would be pouring my massed archer fire at the moment. Oh, yeah. He sees it. And Panthan of Barsoom here is going to take some pretty ugly casualties on those first Refusers, at least if he stays within range for too much longer. Not sure where I would go with the fire arrows, to be honest. It does make for a wonderful cinematic spectacle, though. Sons of Hurin and the Dragon Guard charging into battle together. And let's see if the Suns end up going berserk. We'll come back and we'll take a quick look at them. But all in all, it seems relatively even here. Like, obviously the Avari front line is getting chewed up, but there's a lot of missile support back here. Oh, this is very scary indeed. Some real aggressive moves here from Lion. Taking some volleys in the back. I'm not sure I'd smash them all in here like this. Is going to allow them to be pretty easily surrounded and isolated, but it's definitely a good effort. And the Shades are going to get into the rear of them, and that's not going to be very much fun for anybody. And they're already looking like maybe they regret their life choices. Don't worry, it won't be for too much longer from the looks of things. Yeah, more fire coming in there. Let's see how the Easterlings are doing here against... Oh, Rangers of Hellevorn already. I don't see any dead Axemen, so I'm willing to bet that these guys got caught out. And they didn't even have a chance to toss any of their very expensive and destructive javelins. Big sweep over here. The Sons of Feanor battening down the hatches. A lot of bow fire coming in here, which, you know, can be disruptive and very deadly to some of these units here, and especially the Hunters of Lothland. They're starting to feel it. But a lot of these units are quite heavily shielded as well, so... Oh, there we go. Not what I would use those javelins on. Probably going after the halberdiers, though, I guess. It looks like the mounted company have just been kind of corralled here. And there's a lot of, like, halberds and spearmen, so there's not really a lot that they can do that would be terribly effective. over on this end, not without a little bit of infantry support. And of course, because they spent so much money on those catapults, they've only got so much infantry to go around. Oh, pardon me. I am still nursing a little bit of a cold, so you have to forgive me the coughing. Nasty javelin volleys here, going into the halberdiers. Definitely trying to get a piece of the halberdiers, but there's lots of bodies here to kind of get in the way. Catapult footmen being repurposed as line infantry, as one would expect. The Riders of the Pass having a very bad time here, but they've got some infantry support, and it looks like they've managed to deal with the Riders of the Pass, or rather the Salamandrian Guard. Silver Wind over here looks like they've taken some casualties and managed to use all of their ammunition. I wonder what on. It's hard to tell. Definitely wasn't the Roqueni Magaloro. They're still here and kicking. And they would love to get into those Silver Wind. What do we got here? Salamandrian Guard now beginning to rout. Off they go. Some small victories here for the House of Feanor, and they're really hard put to it on the front lines, though. In come those Halberdiers, having barely taken any damage from the looks of things. And they're really just kind of overloading this part of the front line. So, Sons of Feanor still in it, I think, but there's a lot of pressure being applied here. And I don't know if Belegost has the means to stop it. Now, great place for the Accursed to be. There's certainly a lot of kills to be had, but this little line over here is getting very thin indeed. Looks like the catapult crew is going to be sacrificed there, but I don't know. They're still in it, but I don't know for how much longer. Over here, First Refusers really taking it on the chin. Oof. Poor bastards. Not really a whole lot they can do about it. Although, Rangers out in the open, still with ammo. This is where I think I'd be focusing a lot of my time and attention. And what do you know? The Blade Master's still kicking. Managed to fight their way out of that encirclement. Really does give you a sense of how the Noldor are kind of a league above some of these other Dark Elves. Got some Thorned Ancients there being thrown in, and that might be enough, I think, to see these guys off, but not bad. Much better than you would have thought. They really blended up that Axe Infantry. And the Rangers over here looking a little bit worse for wear as well. Maybe they got caught up in that. Well, let's see how things are going here. It looks like the Avari have managed to push the Noldor back up the hill. They still do have a strong position, and there's a decent amount of numbers here. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to be able to cut their way through those Rangers of the Hidden Path with their like 18 or 19 melee defense. How are we doing over here on the front lines? Looking pretty good, I'd say, for the House of Fingolfin. The Sons of Hurin haven't gone berserk yet, so maybe that they just don't have it. Host of the Withered Ash, fighting to the last as one would expect. Really bogging down this front line. It looks like over here, oh yeah, Fingolfin is really looking good. It looks like these marksmen now are out of ammunition, and they're being thrown in. They're actually quite able combatants as well. Most of the House of Fingolfin are very skilled with their swords. And these guys are certainly no exceptions. Archers are no. And they're going to be able to, I think, batter their way through this front line here. I don't know what... there is a very full health unit here of the Shades of the Guarded Path. They're going to help these Stonehewers stick in the fight for a little bit longer and pose a pretty serious speed bump for the House of Fingolfin. But it's really just them and a couple understrength units of hewers, so I think these guys will find themselves isolated pretty quickly here and surrounded. What we got? First Refusers. A decent shot here. You might actually get to see them do their thing. No? Nothing for now. We'll come back to them. But yeah, that's how things are looking. Blade Master's still kicking around. Some Armitar here have pushed pretty far forward. And it looks like even the Thorned Ancients have begun to feel the sting of these very deadly Noldor in close combat. It looks like the Arqueni Vindicato coming into the rear now. Things looking pretty ugly for the Avari, to be perfectly honest. I don't know how they're going to come out of that, but I bet things are equally as bad for the House of Feanor over here, though they have managed to stabilize things a little bit. Some nice charges here from the Roqueni, finally managing to sink their teeth into something of value. Mounted Company of Kudufin over here, kind of helping to stabilize the situation, but things on the front line are looking very poor indeed. There's not really any answer here for the House of Feanor to these halberds, which I think is a little bit unfortunate. They definitely had a good deal of of javelins, but I think at least one of them got caught out. Yeah, I don't think I'd want any piece of that either if I was them. There is an opportunity here to maybe take out some of these hunters. I would definitely bring the Raqueni Maglor out through here. I don't believe these guys are spear armed. I'm pretty sure they've got like an axe or something. Oh, yeah, they see the danger, and they will manage to take a few of them down. Hopefully he can get in there before a second volley goes into the rear. I don't think he's going to be able to. This might cripple the Raqueni. Oh, yeah. A couple more of them going down, but they did manage to make it through. This would be a great time to turn them around and just throw them into these guys, because they will hack and slash their way through. And it looks like that's what's going to happen here. So let's go ahead and let's turn it up and allow these Raqueni. Oh, they might go for a rear charge, a little cheeky rear charge. All right. Could be he feels this is the bigger danger, and I honestly don't disagree. But I think taking these guys out would be the better thing to do. The footmen of Amras seem to be holding their own. And now, yeah, they do have axes. What do you know? And they're being chased off. But things looking grim for the House of Feanor. Looks like it makes some big moves with that cavalry. They have kind of stabilized it a little bit over here. But that's not going to stop a huge horde of Boar Easterlings coming from behind them. Looks like the first refusers. Oh yeah, you can see that morale damage at work. These guys are slowly but surely battering their way through. Now would be a good time, I think, to just pull one of them out and just have them. Oh, even better. Sons of Hurin. They're charging in there. I don't know if Pantha and Barsoom realizes the mortal danger which these first refusers are in. Well, this is going to be ugly. It's always fun to watch Sons of Hurin charge into combat. And so here we go. And there goes the Avari General. That is bad news bears indeed. Cut down in a single charge. Oh my goodness, those first refusers. And now they're going to get a brutal charge into these Thorned Ancients. I'd be shocked if any of these first refusers managed to make it out of the battle alive. Maybe. There goes another. Looks like Panther might be trying to get them out of the battle. Get them at least out of this. Yep, and those Stone Hewers and the Shades are quickly being overwhelmed. Those Sons of Hurin were unstoppable. Cutting them down like so many trees before a chainsaw. And here's another nice, big, cheeky charge here. And I think this might be the end of these units. We're going to see some routing here. The Sons of Hurin do cause fear. Stone Hewers have definitely had enough. The Shades were... They managed to hold on a few seconds longer, but that's basically it there. Hopefully the Avari can maybe manage to stabilize things here a little bit, but yeah, that's looking pretty ugly. Got some Thorncasters and some Rangers here making a fight on the hill. Managed to dislodge the Noldor, but at what cost, I ask you? And things are pretty well even here, almost completely neck and neck between both sides. Let's see. Belagos kind of holding on here a little bit. Managing to really turn things around with his cavalry. But over here, this is just... I don't know how you stop this. I don't know if up into Amaras. Oops. Got a good position up here. They managed to actually kill a decent amount of these halberds. No, unfortunately not. I don't know if they're going to have enough infantry to sort of tie down a lot of the big scary anti-cavalry deterrents. I think this is basically going to be... This big charge here is going to be the death knell of the remains of the Sons of Feanor army. They're just not going to be able to finish this off quick enough. Sons of Boar are going to hold on. And they're just going to be completely overrun here, just swamped by this tide of Northmen. And Sons of Amaras not having a good time here. They're very vulnerable to halberdiers, especially unsupported like this. Huntsman not having a good time with it either. Yeah, and this is where I think we're going to see that gap begin to widen. Oh yeah, I might see a 70 model route here, and there they go. Weren't able to hold on long enough. And the Sons of Boar have basically smashed their feudal overlords. They won their freedom this day. What will they do with it, I wonder. Probably smash into the rear of the House of Ingolfin, and that's going to be all she wrote. A lot of the cavalry still over here, though. That could be significant. Feanor cavalry supporting a fairly healthy unit, or a fairly healthy army of the House of Fingolfin. That's definitely nothing to sneeze at. Don't know where the Roqueni Magloro have gotten off to. It's possible that they were slowly killed off by attrition, and I think indeed they probably were. Unless I am mistaken and they are still hiding somewhere. But I don't see them. Oh, there are some Roqueni Magloro down here. What do you know? I would not... This is the last thing that I would ever do, to be perfectly honest. No, this is not a good thing to do with your cavalry, and I think Lord of Belegost realizes that, so he's going to hightail it out of there and go to rejoin his ally, who has basically finished off what remains of the Avari. Let's see, what do I got here? Oh, a couple of first refusers, what do you know? That was a very handy Fingolfin victory, but not quite as handy as the Sons of Boar over the House of Feanor. Now, there's a decent amount of units here, but they are pretty ragtag, and those polearms still, there's no real answer to them, and I think that they're still outnumbered, both of them, by the Sons of Boar alone. And they're going to get some light reinforcements here from the Avari. Roqueni Findicano. Yeah, there's definitely a big cav advantage, but there's a lot of big pointy sticks over on that end of the field, and I don't know what they're going to do to deal with that. And I think it's also worth noting that a lot of these units, I'm looking at fresh fatigue on some of them. There's a few exhausted in there, and there's a lot of winded over on this side of the field, and some tired as well. So given how close they are, I think there's a notable fatigue disparity. Oh, nice. Get into those hunters, possibly? Yes? No? No, the footmen of Amorous are going to rout. I probably would have tried to get them out of there. Maybe make their way back to the Fingolfin lines. I don't think we're going to see them come back, unfortunately. Oh, he sees an opportunity for a nice rear charge. I'd go for it. There's a decent amount of damage done there. But I think it's going to cost him pretty dearly in cavalry models that you really can't afford to lose. Let's see, 85 to 79. Yeah, Fingolfin, I think, is now going to be forced to make a bit of a disordered charge here. And they're probably just going to get, swept up. There's not a lot of order. They don't even get their charge bonus. This was really not great. Like, these guys into the front of the halberdiers might not have been the worst. Yeah, this is not great. Dragon Guard trying to take a bite out of the halberdiers and doing okay at it. I can see a few of them falling there. But these guys are very tired and just kind of thrown over there. I don't think they're going to have very much fun. I think these Blade Masters, because of how tired they are, might end up routing almost immediately. Well, they're going to break in the line here. That might give the cavalry some opportunity to work a little bit. They're going to have to make frontal charges at these units. That's not going to be fun. Saw that they were shaken, maybe trying to rout them, but I don't think that's going to happen. Not with a single charge from them. More cavalry charging into the back there. Not the best place for them to be. An okay amount of Roqueni Magloro. Oh, they're going to get blocked there. Oh yeah, they're going to get blocked hard. Those Thorin Ancients were having none of that. Oh, some routing. Some routing. Yeah, a nice, sandwich here might be enough to kind of rout these guys, but there's not a lot of coordination that I have seen from these two. It's just sort of charging at whatever's there. This is a great opportunity. Charge into the rear of some of these guys and probably rout off that warband and apply a lot of pressure. It's good. Nice opportunities over here as well, though. But this might have been somewhere to sort of spread it out a little bit. Apply pressure in multiple places. Now they're going to have that chance to charge in there. Clan guards with their scimitars. They're just kind of bullying the cavalry here, and they're giving up a lot of ground, and that's not going to go well for these guys. Especially the House of Fingolfin in the center here. That being said, they're not doing bad. They're actually cutting their way straight through those lines. It's just that that's the only place that they're really able to do it. Over here, they're just kind of holding, and they've lost control of the wings now. And that's that I think is going to prove decisive. Now there's more spears coming over here. Yeah, this is going to be an ugly one. If I had to guess, I would say that it's, and you know, I do. I would say that based on what we're seeing here, it's going to be a bit of a narrow Boar victory. Well, they are starting to win through in the center. They just got to keep control of the wings. This is where I think I'd be applying a lot of my cavalry at this point. Oh, look at those warband, though. They are routing. Yeah, the Arquani Findicano should definitely run them down so they don't come back. Oh, there goes the Boar General. That's pretty big. Now would be a great time to apply a lot of pressure to a few different... Oh, this is a great, great opportunity. Yeah, let's see him do it. Vacillating a little bit. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't go into the center there. They did pull off a lot of spearmen, though. And that's going to leave those halberdiers high and dry. Oh, they're going to rout these guys off. That's pretty. This is some big moves here. Really coming down to it now. 90 to 94. Yeah, there's still a bit of a window left for the morale debuff. Oh. House of Boar was on top of it, though. Captain Gervais wasn't going to let them sneak that charge in there. And now those warband came back. They should have been run down earlier, but now they're taking valuable time and valuable lives. I don't think they're going to rout. They're going to do just fine there. Oh, that's a new pin in the side of the Noldor. I don't think there's enough of them left. I think we're going to see the end here. Yeah. There go the hunters. There's actually an archer unit. What do you know? Or maybe they are an archer unit. Maybe they're... No, they're definitely javelins. I think they do have access to an archer unit, which is maybe why I was confused. Yeah, this little blob here is enough. They can just circle the wagons. Even the Sons of Huron are... Yeah, these cavalry are getting too far away. Too far away indeed. I might as well just throw them in there, honestly. Oh, never mind. That's the House of Fingolfin beginning to rout. Oh, those wardens actually going to take damage from that? Oh, they will. What do you know? A decent amount of damage, but a third of their numbers remaining. Get into the back of those hunters. Oh, there we go. I think one nice cavalry charge here would be more than enough to maybe see some of these lighter units off. Oh yeah, there they go. Might as well just accept their fate. This one is definitely going to the House of Boar. They played it smart, and they played it well. And I'd say they definitely deserved this win. This was a really unfortunate fight, especially losing the javelins the way that they did, and losing the catapults early on in the game. This at no point in the game was this going in the way of the House of Feanor, so that's really unfortunate. Yeah, there they are. The bloody victors. Which mod are we playing? I mean, you're on the Silmarillion Total War channel, so I'm going to go ahead and say it's Silmarillion Total War. Just by dint of there being no other options. One Rider of the Pass. Maybe he's got enough arrows in there for everyone, do you suppose? Yeah, I don't even think I'd give him the opportunity to reform. Well, that's at least fair. A fair effort, I would say. Yeah, I think the House of Boar, there's enough of them left here. Might as well just call this a day. We're going to go ahead and put it down to 2x speed. Oh, there's a couple of first refusers left, too. Hey, one guy's going to toss his... Oh, there it is. That poison ball is going to go off. Avari still in the game. There goes the Feanor General. Roqueni Magloro did well enough, I think. Probably paid for themselves in this fight. that's going to be it there. Good game to everybody involved. That was real fun. Very close down to the end there. A valiant effort by the two royal houses of the Noldor, but alas. Now, it says they have all these left, but honestly, they get a few hundred left. Like we've seen, there's 2 units left for the Avari, but there's 300 left on the balance sheet at the end. Let's see what did what here. Rangers did reasonably well, as you would have expected. The Stone Hewers, decent enough, 90-ish kills. That's something that's about average of what you can expect from them. The Shades did okay. Some of the hosts of Withered Ash didn't do too bad. Val Wards did wretched, but they're really just there to die. First Refusers did okay. Thorned Ancients got some good kills in there. Very interesting game indeed. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed so far. My name is Jordan, also known as J Monster, and I will definitely be seeing you guys again on this channel and on my channel as well. You can find me at JMonsterTW on YouTube. I also have a Twitch channel as well, but I don't use it very often. Yeah, this is the new kind of version of Silmarillion moving forward. We'll be playing a lot on EOP. You're going to see a lot of new features, berserking. We're hoping to have swimming kind of down pat so everybody can enjoy that. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.